Okay, this is to show you how I do the newsletter, but I don't think it's going to help you that much because I'm on a MacBook and most people are using a Windows platform. So the program I use is Pages, and most of you have Microsoft Word or preferably Microsoft Publisher. If you're lucky enough to have Publisher, it's by far the easiest to use. But if you have Word, you can still do it, and it's similar to Pages, so I'll show you what I do. I first open up Pages. So you would open up Word, and I need a new document. Now, if you've not done one before, you can choose a template. You can look down and choose something that you think might work for your template. It's usually under flyers and posters. So starting with a template gives you the basic foundation so that you don't have to do it all from scratch. I used a classic newsletter when I started. So I just opened up the classic newsletter and it fills in all kinds of stuff. And it's just giving you examples of what you could do. So it's got all this Latin junk, but I don't really want the Latin junk. So you just click where you want to change it and you type in what you want. Now the first time you set it up, it's going to take a while just for you to get it the way you want it. If you're not used to doing it, it'll be very time consuming the first time. But after that, it's much easier because all you have to do is open up the month before. So I'm going to open recent, 2015 newsletter September. This is the last one I did. And it looks like this. So you can see now that I've already set it up, the basics are already there and I don't have to fiddle so much. But the biggest thing to do is remember if you're going to use an old month as your template, then you need to do a file save or a file save as immediately so that you don't wind up saving over your old ones because then they start to become corrupted. So I would make a copy of this. In Pages, it's called copy instead of save as, and I would name it, I assume I'd be doing October. So I'm going to make an October one. And now I just start changing the basics. I'm doing October, so I change that. Excuse me, the Relief Society motto doesn't change, so that stays the same. This all stays the same. I don't have to mess with it. The headers automatically update when I update them, and the pages do as well. So the next thing I usually do is decide what colors I'm going to use because again, I get bored using the same thing every time, but it would be easier if you chose a color and stuck to it. So let's say it's October, so I want oranges and blacks. Again, in Word, choosing colors, you do it a slightly different way. I'm sorry I'm using Pages, so it's not going to be as helpful. But there's my orange. And I would try to do orange here as well, but it might not show up very well. So, oh, come on, be nice. It doesn't want to. There we go, orange. If I look at this and I'm like, it's not dark enough, then that means I just need to play with it. And these can take a long time or they can take a short time, and it really depends on you. I might decide I'm going to do black for all the font because it shows up better than orange does for font. And if I do that, I try to just be consistent just because I think it looks better if I'm consistent. I don't want to do 700 colors on the same document, but I could. Oops, I want black. So I'm choosing black, and I sometimes forget to change the numbers because they're hidden down there. But now I've got all of my basic colors black. Black. All right, so all my font is now black. So now I can change this. And again, remember, let's go back and see if we can find it. Remember the template? This is how it started. And you can see that from this, I've modified it into this. And it did take a while to get there, but once you get there, then you're done. You don't have to do it anymore. So you can see in the original, this was gray. But now for me, I've got it different colors every month, and it's narrower, so I have more room for my message here. This I've changed slightly, as you can see, but basically you can do it however you want to do it. So for me, to change the colors, I just click it, and you can see it highlights the whole box. And over here, it's telling me what my choices are. Right now I have it set to gradient fill, but I can choose no fill, and then it just goes back to white. And I do this when I want to print copies, because printing the color in black and white doesn't copy very well. I can do a color fill, which chooses all the same color. I can do a gradient fill, which is what I had and what I tend to like best. I can do advanced gradient fill. I never mess with this because I don't have the skill or the expertise to do it. You can do an image fill. I never do that either, but that would be if you wanted a picture in the background. However, any pictures you use cannot be copyrighted. And copyright law states that anything posted on the internet is immediately copyrighted the moment it's posted, unless it says otherwise. So you have to assume that everything is copyrighted unless it says specifically otherwise. So in other words, you probably shouldn't be using images unless you took it. And then the same thing with the advanced image fill. So again, gradient fill is my favorite. It automatically fills it somehow, but then you can start messing around. Blue and purple makes kind of that look. I tend to like the two-tone colors, so I start with one color and keep it in the same color family. But again, it's yours, so you can do whatever you want. If you have a little more expertise, you can come down here and you can start choosing colors a little bit more refined, if you will. And sometimes I'll do that. I think the purples that I just had both came from these color palettes because there are a few more choices. So whatever you want to do, 9999FF. 9999FF. And there's the color I want. Anyway, you can see how it plays around, and word will be slightly different, but the concept is the same. You can change how the gradient works. So if you watch over to the column where the colors are, you can see how it changes as I go around in the circle. So you can put the colors on the top or the bottom or the side or whatever. And then whatever I do on top, I do on bottom. But that's just me. A lot of the announcements in the sidebar stay the same. Break the Fast is typically in there every month. State quilting is in there pretty much every month. Knitting and crochet is in there every month. The lesson schedule you'll have to update, but it's in there every month. And again, to get the lesson schedule, you just have to, I have it saved on my computer. You may have it printed, I don't know. But I just open it up and then I copy and paste the lesson schedule for the month. Family center hours never change. This Sandra Floyd might change as soon as she moves. You might need to update that somehow. There is usually one or two announcements that have to be either deleted or updated or changed to a different one. I decided to put the Relief Society presidency message on the front page because I figure everyone has access to the visiting teaching message. So Relief Society presidency message on the front page. We take turns writing it. This month was Wendy. The next month I'll have to look it up. But if you are going to quote, make sure you do it properly and cite your source. Anything that's over 100 years old is typically copyright free. Edgar A. Guest's material is over 100 years old, so I can use that. Anything from the Ensign or the Friend or a church magazine, you can quote because the church has given permission for that type of quoting in newsletters. But if you're going to start quoting outside sources, then again, you're getting into copyright, and you have to be very careful about how you do it. At the end of the Relief Society message, I finally settled on, and it took me almost a year to get this far, but I decided thoughts by whomever seems to work really well. Instead of written by or instead of nothing, my opinion is thoughts by seems to work well. And then the next page is just the visiting teaching message. And again, the church has given permission to copy from the magazine verbatim in something such as a church newsletter. Okay? So that's in essence how I do a newsletter. This one I've already saved. Well, now I've got an October one. But I also always save a black and white version because when I go to make copies for Relief Society, the black and white version works so much better. So I would save this as October B&W, and that's what I would use for copying. I usually make 80 copies, and that has been about right for the last couple of months. Okay, that's it for this tutorial.